So if you are um just starting out on your financial journey with your spouse and you guys are butting heads, you have to remember what you guys are believing for, because with that belief, there are going to come for you guys. And even if you're single and you're doing this on your own, there are going to come distractions. And the distractions are only there to derail you from your goal. Hey, 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 family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, this is episode 131, 131 weeks of consistency, 130 weeks of getting it done. We outside. If you are a first time listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for joining us. On this podcast, we talk about faith, family, and finances, among other things. If you are a return listener, watcher, subscriber, thank you so much for joining us again. Hopefully, we are adding value to your lives on the way to the M's, because as always, we are on the way to the M's. And sometimes I have people ask me, yo, what are the M's? M's are millions, millions of dollars, being millionaires. That's what we're going towards, and that's what we're getting to. So, speaking of wealth building, I talked about it in when I talked at my church, Seeds of Greatness Bible Church, a few weeks ago. Before we become wealthy, before we get to achieving anything, there are three specific components that you need. Very, very simple, not easy, but they are simple. First is belief. Do you believe that you can achieve wealth or anything for that matter? So before you get the thing, you need to believe that you can have it first. Second thing is the plan. Do you have a plan for achieving the thing that you believe for? And then the last thing is execution. Can you execute on the thing that you're believing for and then able to execute on the plan for the thing that you're believing for? So, those are the three simple components of achieving any level of success, any financial gain, anything that you're trying to undertake. You need those three things. But today we're going to specifically talk about belief, because again, before you can have anything, you need to believe that you can do the thing. And before we kind of get into the conversation, for you specifically who are watching this podcast or even listening to this podcast, I would like for you to close your eyes. And I do this when I speak in front of audiences sometimes, because this is a huge exercise. I want you to close your eyes and visualize what your best life looks like. For me, I'm on a golf course, uh, flying out to play golf somewhere with my family, going to a nice resort, living in a nice home, which we live in currently. And I want you to visualize what your best life looks like. It could be you being debt free. It could be your children going to school for free. It could be you having a paid for house, no mortgage. What does that life look like for you? Are you pulling up to the house in a half moon, half circle driveway? Like, what does that look like for you? So now that you have that hopefully locked into your mind, what do you need in order to have that thing? And we'll talk about that on another episode. But for me specifically, I was um always playing golf. Like, I was the first of my friends that I can remember to play golf. And one of the things that golf showed me was next level living. Now, next level living doesn't necessarily have to be you living in a mansion if you're living in a row home. Next level living could be you living in a twin home from living in a row home, or it could be you living in a townhouse, or if you're living in a townhouse now, maybe a single family home. But when I was playing golf many years ago, I was living in Chester, Pennsylvania in a twin, a three bath, one and a half, I'm sorry, a three bedroom, one and a half bath house. It was a nice house for a single person. Or if my wife and I were living there together as well, it was a nice home for two people. Um, and I remember going to go play golf, and I used to go and I used to look around, and there were these nice townhouses, and then there were these nice single family homes. And I used to think to myself, yo, it will be so nice to live there one day. I had no plan. I just had the desire, which could then equate to belief. I had a burning desire on the inside that I would really love to live in one of those houses one day. Now, I told you where I was living, three bedroom, one and a half bath house. Many years after that, we put the plan together. My wife and I, when we got married, I'm kind of fast forwarding a little bit. My wife and I, we got married, and then we ended up about a year or two later living in a townhouse, which we're going from about 1200 square feet to now moving into a 1,700 square foot house. That's next level living for us, because before that we were, living in a smaller space. So I'm like, okay, but I still have the burning desire to live in a single family home with yard space, and I'm not connected to anybody. But again, we are not despising small beginnings. Small beginnings for me back then would be me living in that townhouse. I'm not despising that. I know that there are steps that need to be taken. So we live in a townhouse for I believe about 6 years or so, 7 years. And then after we move, then we move up to the bigger home. But there were a lot of steps that needed to be taken before we moved into the bigger home. If you're now living in a row home and then you want to jump to a mansion, that's completely fine. But do you have the means to be able to handle mansion type bills? So I'm now thinking as I'm talking to you that I'm appreciative of God, because our mortgage went from, I believe it was 600 $600 a month with the house in Chester, to then moving into a mortgage of $1,200 a month. And that gave us the belief that we could pay for more, because we set our budget up, which is goes into the planning part. And then we had the belief that, hey, if we have our finances in order and we're paying a $1,200 mortgage, then maybe we can pay a little bit more for a nicer home. And so we ended up, years later, we ended up moving into this home now. The mortgage was not $1,200. I'll just say that, even though we don't have the mortgage now, it was not that. But the whole point of it is that we first believed for something. We didn't overextend our faith, meaning that we didn't go from the twin home to the mansion. And I'm not saying you can't, but you may sometimes overextend your faith, meaning that you may say, okay, well, I'm believing God for X thing, whatever that thing is. In this case, we're talking about houses. So going from the row home then to a mansion, but we are not in a financial position to be able to handle mansion type bills. Like I said before, there's the light bill is more expensive. Gas is more expensive. You have to furnish the place. That's more expensive. Overextending your faith would be, to work where you're currently working or making what you're currently making, living in that smaller home, than jumping into let's just say a $2,000 a month mortgage, and you have to furnish it, and you have to heat it, and you have different expenses. Things break, so things are a little bit more expensive now than they were when you were living in a row home. So I'm saying all that to say that um, before you leap out and uh, overextend your faith and your belief, then we have to make sure that it makes sense. It makes financial sense.
What's going on, family? This is Che Willis from Wealth as a Journey. Did you know that we just started a wealth building community? In this community, we meet once a month on Zoom. We discuss financial areas of opportunity. We discuss wins and strategies to get you to the M's. In anybody's wealth building journey, if you're just starting out, it can be super lonely and difficult. In this community, we're also going to hold you accountable to where you say you want to be. So if you need the accountability, if you need the family atmosphere, if you need help getting to your desired financial result, come join the community. My website is www.wealthisajourney.com. Join the community today to get to your financial result. Thank you.
So going back to when my wife and I combined our finances, I talked about that before. And that was a major turning point of when things started to change for us, because my bills were her bills and her bills were my bills, but we were attacking things together. So if you are um, just starting out on your financial journey with your spouse and you guys are butting heads, you have to remember what you guys are believing for, because with that belief, there are going to come for you guys. And even if you're single and you're doing this on your own, there are going to come distractions. And the distractions are only there to derail you from your goal and for what you're believing for. Because the enemy would not love anything more for you to be believing God for something, and then a distraction come, and then you get derailed, and now you're blaming God for the thing not happening when it was you who got distracted and got derailed. So I'm saying all that to say that when you're on your journey, when if you're on your financial journey and you have a spouse or you're by yourself, you have to lock in and keep in mind what you are believing for. Any of those distractions that come, before you make a decision on whatever that distraction may be, you have to think to yourself, does this line up with where I'm trying to go? Is this thing going to veer me off in this direction when I'm trying to go this way? Because there are going to be many, many distractions, and they're going to come in so many different forms. If one thing doesn't get you, then the enemy is going to send something or somebody else your way, somebody that you love, to distract you, to derail you. So we have to lock in to again what we're believing for. And if the distraction that comes or the thing that comes to you, if it doesn't line up, then I'm here to tell you, please do not do it. And the journey that we're on, which is the reason why it's called Wealth as a Journey, is to let the people know that are listening and watching that it's not going to happen for you overnight. So whatever you're believing for is not going to happen overnight. And then once you achieve the thing that you're believing for, most likely what's going to happen is you're going to have the faith and the belief now to believe for something even bigger. So we for us, we paid the house off. We did all the nice things. We're now taking trips, and now I'm believing to fly private. And flying private is not cheap. But my thing is that if I can believe God for uh him giving me the ability and my wife the ability to pay the house off, flying private somewhere with my golf clubs in the back and my family and my friends on the plane, we get into it. Why wouldn't he do that for me? especially if I'm being a good steward over my finances. I'm not robbing people or beating people over the head. So, although this is not necessarily a sexy message or talk today, before you become or before you achieve anything, you have to understand and you have to know within yourself, do I really believe that I can have this thing or that I can achieve this thing? Because a lot of us, we overplay our faith, meaning that, oh yes, I'm believing for, $50,000. When in your heart of hearts, it's really hard for you to believe for 500. But you're saying it because it sounds good. So I'm saying that to say that if wherever your faith is currently or wherever you're believing for currently, that's fine. If somebody else's faith is higher than yours, that's no problem. You don't know how long it took for that person's faith to be where it is. So start where you are regarding wherever your faith is, and then take steps to grow your faith, stacking up little wins here and there. And as you continue to win, that's going to give you the belief that you can win even more and win even bigger. So that's why I went back to say that if God can give me money to pay my house off, my wife and I, then taking a little airplane somewhere private, why wouldn't he be able to do that for me? But that's where my faith is. I don't know where your faith is, but wherever it is, start where you are and build on it. So again, not a sexy message, but I think it needs to be talked about because we have a lot of people out here with fake faith, fake belief. They just like to talk about what they are believing for when they really don't believe for it at all. But I'm giving you practical steps and stories from my personal life that can help you to get to where you are or to get to where you want to be, excuse me. So, um we have to understand that being wealthy is not all about numbers. I believe it starts here first, but on this podcast, we're going to talk about both because it needs to be talked about. But I believe the belief piece is a huge component of us getting to where we need to be. So that's the episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Wealth is a journey. We will see you next week. Peace.